But this competition is about more than just strong analysis and writing. We are looking for a team that can communicate with their insight clearly, defend their findings under pressure, and present with confidence. By the end of today, we will select the team that will represent Thailand at the regional level and hopefully on the global stage. On behalf of CFA Society Thailand, we would like to express our deepest appreciation to our esteemed sponsors. Your generous support has been instrumental in making this competition a success. First, the Stock Exchange of Thailand for generously hosting us throughout these 5-month competitions. Their sponsorship of the venue has been essential in bringing this event to life. Bloomberg for their invaluable ongoing support as our data service provider, enabling our participants to access world-class research tools. Next, Kietnakin Patara Securities Public Company Limited for sponsoring 50,000 baht for the winning team. Kasikorn Asset Management for sponsoring 20,000 baht for the first runner-up and 5,000 baht each for the 2 second runner-up teams. And lastly, Capital Market Development Fund for awarding CFA exam scholarship to the 4 exceptional teams that make it today. And this opportunity not only recognizes students' hard work, but also encourages them to continue striving for excellence in the field of finance. These contributions from our sponsors reflect their commitment to fostering the next generation of finance professionals. We are also immensely grateful to our CFA charter holders who have dedicated their time and expertise as mentors, graders, and judges. Your contributions have allowed us to provide a rich learning experience for our participants and play a key role in shaping the future of finance. Now, before we begin the final round, I would like to invite our Research Challenge chairperson and CFA Society's board member for an opening speech. Please welcome Khun Yingyong Jiarawut.
สวัสดีครับ Good morning esteemed judges participants and executives from SISB นะครับ It's been very excited to see everyone here today and not sure that everybody aware today is also a very important day for Thailand, but nobody cares anyway. It's an official start of the summer season. I can feel the heat in the room right now. Over the past 5 months, so hopefully everyone here has a good learning experience with the company. Understand everyone have a good management interview process, the site visit, having seen real world experience in terms of financials, modeling, analytics, presentation skill. So hopefully this CFA research challenge will be something that as a starting point for you of the thinking about career and what you have learned today and until today and forward will be benefit not only for the career in finance but to whatever journey that would like to pursue. So with no further ado, we have the 4 finalist team today, and I think it's going to be very exciting with the subject company that we have as well. So let the final round begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Khun Yingyong, for your warm welcome. Our event is being streamed live on the Research Challenge in Thailand Facebook page at the moment, and we encourage you to share this special moment with your friends and networks on social media. Now let's go over the competition's rule and introduce our esteemed judge. Today, our 4 finalist team will present their research. Our panel of expert judges will evaluate their work, and the team with the highest score will be crowned the winner, and will go on to represent CFA Society Thailand in the next stage of the competition. It is my honor to introduce our distinguished judge, well-known professionals in Thailand's financial sector. First, Dr. Andrew Stoss, CEO of A Stoss Investment Research and former president of CFA Society Thailand. Next, Kun Suwat Sin Sadok, Managing Director, Institutional Department at Gobex Group. Next, Kun Pasin Pawasutikun, Vice President, Corporate Finance Department at Kietnakin Patara Securities Public Company Limited. And lastly, Kun Ninat Wongsangiem, Head of Equity Fund Management at Kasikorn Asset Management. All right, we are deeply grateful for our judges for generously volunteering their time today. With their extensive experience and deep industry knowledge, they will bring invaluable insight to these competitions. Now let's take a moment to go over the rules for today's presentations. First, each team will have 10-minute presentation, followed by a 10-minute Q&A session with our judge. As we approach the end of each segment, we will give you a 5-minute and a 1-minute warning that look like this. All right, and then once we signal, and we will signal one more time when the time is up, and at that point, everyone must stop. All right, so please be mindful of this time limit so that we can keep everything running smoothly and on schedule. And after the Q&A session, there will be another 5-minute window for judge to share feedback and recommendations. And this feedback is meant to help you grow and learn, and it won't impact your scores. To ensure fairness, team will be referred to by their alphabet, their assigned alphabet, A, B, C, and D. Instead of university's name, we kindly ask everyone here, including audience, to keep university's name confidential throughout the presentations. Lastly, to minimize distraction and help everyone focus, please keep noise to the minimum, silence your mobile phone now, and avoid moving around the room during presentations. เพื่อไม่ให้เป็นการรบกวนผู้เข้าแข่งขันและคณะกรรมการนะคะทางสมาคมขอความร่วมมือกับทุกท่านในการงดใช้เสียงปิดเสียงมือถือแล้วก็ลดการเดินเข้าออกจากห้องนะคะระหว่างที่มีพรีเซนต์ค่ะและเพื่อให้การตัดสินเป็นไปอย่างยุติธรรมทีมพรีเซนต์ทั้ง4ทีมนะคะจะใช้ตัวอักษร A B C D แทนชื่อทีมนะคะจนกว่าผลตัดสินจะออกจึงขอความร่วมมือทุกท่านไม่ให้แสดงสัญลักษณ์ใดๆที่แสดงว่ามหาลัยนี้ทีมนี้เป็นมหาลัยอะไรนะคะระหว่างการแข่งขันค่ะWe are now ready to begin the first presentation. Could we kindly ask all participating teams, B, C, D, to step outside the room for now? Once each team has completed their presentation, you are more than welcome to come back in here and join us and watch other team present. Thank you so much for your cooperation and best of luck to all of our teams, and we are excited to see what you prepare. Thank you. All right, let's begin with our first team, Team A. So feel free to start your presentation whenever you're ready. The timer will begin as soon as you do. Good luck.
The future belongs to those who invest in knowledge, and SISB is leading that charge. In light of this, we issue a buy recommendation at 30 Thai baht with 36% upside, driven by, first, high demand from Thai and Chinese students, second, ample available capacity, and lastly, higher profitability leading to ROE growth. SISB Public Company Limited is the largest international school operator in Thailand with 7 campuses and 4,620 students. In 2024, it generated 2.4 billion in revenue, making it a market leader with 6% market share. SISB achieved this due to its brand strength built on 3 factors. First, a trilingual curriculum. With Mandarin being an essential these days, SISB fostered a strong Chinese-speaking environment with 22% of Chinese students. Second, proven academic placements with 52% of placements in STEM. And lastly, high brand recognition backed by being in the industry for over 20 years and rapid campus expansion. Looking at the industry landscape, Thailand birth statistic has declined at negative 4.5% CAGR. International school enrollments, on the other hand, remain strong, going at 6.9% CAGR. This is driven by wealthier families, as reflected in a 10.2% CAGR in high net worth individuals and high per-child spending. This increase in purchasing power has allowed parents to afford 3 to 10% tuition fee rise a year. Now, as you can see, SISB thrives in a growing sector with opportunities to secure long-term return. Is SISB a good investment opportunity?
Definitely, SISB will grow from the 2 demands of the twin engine from Thai and Chinese demands. Start with the first engine, the local student. SISB has expanded the first 4 campuses in Bangkok and the greater Bangkok area, targeting the high-density household area in their strategic location. We did our own field analysis to confirm that SISB is truly in the premium gated communities in the affluent residential area. And as a result, SISB is truly in this community with an average house price of 15 million baht. We see that this wealthy family take considerations of the locations as a vital factors to choosing school for the children. So these strategic locations is very important. Moreover, we see they stand out among the competitors with their proximity to these premium gated communities, and at the same time, they're offering the unique trilingual curriculum to these students. With that strong brand reputation, make SISB capture the high proportion of the student within this area, despite the intense competitions. SISB also stepped further to expand their campus in the secondary area, like in Chiang Mai, Rangsit, and Rayong. That SISB can capture these students in the low competition area with their more affordable price and also the strong brand reputation in this area. We see that SISB can have the higher number from the local students. Additional to the local student, they also grow the number of the Chinese student from the international school. We see that SISB has a growing number of the Chinese student after the restrictions of the international curricula from the Chinese government make Chinese students to fly out of the country to study abroad. SISB becoming the popular destination due to their supportive environment of the trilingual curriculum and welcoming culture of Thailand. At the same time, they are more affordable price compared to Western country or other country like Singapore. Moreover, they also actively use the effective Chinese educational agency to recruit the higher number of the students from China. We see with these two strong local and Chinese students, make SISB can continue growing of their number of the students in the future.
With ample capacity, and low capital expenditures, SISB is in well positioned to capture the demands from local and foreign students, as the management has continuously expanded the capacity to support the organic growth of SISB students. In 2015, majority of students were in kindergarten level. With strong 88% retention rate, now the student compositions have become more on the primary level. With expansion plan up to 9,000 seats, we expect SISB student distributions to further expand from new students' enrollments as well as the current students' advancements. Looking back further at the past acquisitions of the company, SISB has developed a strong mutual benefit with real estate developers, as evidenced in 39% discount of land acquired in Nonthaburi. This has led to an improvement in asset turnover at 0.44 times. For our third investment thesis, we will focus on the company profitabilities. The company has shown a robust 34% net profit margins, higher than peers at 19% of those who offer trilingual curricula. This is due to the core revenue per student that is growing at a faster rate than teacher wages. We expect the net profit margins to further rise, confirmed by two validations. First, by 2031, the student distributions will shift towards secondary enrollments. This will significantly impact SISB revenue, since tuition fee in secondary level is 64% higher than the primary level. Moreover, the school also increased their tuition fee by 5% every academic year. Second, SISB will achieve superior fixed cost to total cost ratio from the past expanded capacity that will gradually ramp up and reach to long-term economy of scale. Therefore, the DuPont analysis shows that the return on equity will rise to 33.3%, and the three major drivers are higher net profit margins, stable asset turnovers, and a healthier equity multiplier. Thus, the question remains, is this investment the right price?
We projected a strong revenue CAGR of 12%, driven by the utilization rate ramp up with the tuition fee increase. While on the other hand, the total expense is expected to rise by only 10%. As a result, we forecast a margin expansion in gross, operating, and net profit level. And with that, we use the discounted cash flow method on the free cash flow to equity with a cost of equity of 8.3% and the terminal growth rate of 2%, resulting in a target price of 30.45 baht. This is validated by our sensitivity analysis on both the cost of equity and the terminal growth, which show an inline throughout the board. We also conduct a football field analysis to further validate our DCF price range, which shows a consistency throughout other multiple valuation approaches. We also concerned that investors might want to take a look at a relative valuation for other perspectives, and which is telling the same story, where SISB is currently being undervalued when we look at the PE premiums to peers, and the PE to growth ratio of 0.96 is lower than the global median of 0.2.
We have also conducted a bull and bear case analysis. In the bear case, we concentrate on the Thai regulatory limit on tuition and the change in taxation status of international school. Second, China restricts on overseas schooling. And the last one is the possibility of economic downturn. Our analysis shows the downside of 23%, but the probability is highly unlikely. Next, we have identified two key investment risks. The first one is the poor academic performance, which can be mitigated by tightening the admission. The risk could lead to a slower student and tuition fee growth, resulting in a 14% downside from the current price. Another risk is the removal of China restriction, the risk could lead to a slower Chinese growth, which can lead to a negative 1.2% downside. Lastly, in terms of ESG, SISB is making its best effort to become a green school with a target of 20% carbon emission reduction. It has a 3-star CG rating and low ESG risk score. In addition, there are some concerns regarding the ownership. The two major shareholders who collectively own 57% of the share. However, historically, these two key investors have contributed positively to the company's growth. With all these key factors.
Now it's time for the Q&A.
Okay. So my question is, what is the constraint to the net profit margin? You have already, this is an extremely high net profit margin, and it's come from lower to get to this point. Your expectations of a 47% profit margin would make this one of the most profitable companies in the world. So I'm not asking you to justify your profit margin. I want you to help me understand what are the risks to that profit margin, so that by 2031, what is the risk that that 47 could be, let's say, 30 as an example?
I'll be happy to address this question. The expansion in net profit margins mostly come from the ramp up in utilization rate, which leads to the saving of the economy of scale as fixed cost to total cost ratio will decrease. As a result, the risk that would be able to not able to increase the net profit margin if the student fails to come into the campus and ramp up the utilization. This fixed cost to total cost ratio won't show an improvement in the net profit margin.
Allow me to add on to that point. Since the net profit margins is quite high, this will potentially attract newcomers to this industry and will overall reduce SISB abilities to increase their tuition fee.
So have you taken that into consideration in the forecast that you're making? Maybe you should show us the downside slide that shows the scenario analysis, just so I can understand the valuation.
Yes, we have taken that into account as well. On our risk scenarios, there is one scenario where SISB could potentially face with the regulatory controls on tuition fee, which this has the same impact as when SISB cannot raise their tuition fee, and this will lead to potential downside in terms of the target price.
Okay. Can you walk me through your valuation methodology again? Like, what is your the valuation methodology you use? Why you think that is suitable for this case, and also the peer analysis as well.
Okay. So to address, first we base our target price on the DCF valuation on the free cash flow to equity. We use the cost of equity of 8.3 and the terminal growth rate of 2%. And the reason why we use this method is due to the industry and the business nature of SISB, as SISB is currently in a cash-rich industry, as tuition fees are collected at the beginning of the year, but teacher wages are paid at the end of the month. Therefore, they have a negative cash cycle, and DCF valuation methodologies is a good method to capture this. And moreover, SISB is in the growth stage. Therefore, there's a lot of cash flow at the later stages of the forecast. Therefore, the DCF model also capture this as well. And for the peer selection, as there's no direct competitors in Thailand in the education industry, we take a look at the global peers where they operate in K-12 education similar to SISB, have a similar market cap, revenue, and the PPE to show the operation comparability. And we exclude firms in China and Hong Kong market, as the education market over there is very restricted and cannot be compared with the market here in Thailand.
Your key takeaway from this analysis, the peers analysis.
Yes, for the peer analysis, currently, even though SISB is trading on a slight higher PE on a PE premiums to peer, but if we look at the EPS growth, the PE to growth ratio of 0.95 is below the peers median of 1.2.
Why do you think that the company will be able to increase the price by 5% this year, right? Given that now the economy is very weak and the tuition fee is already been high. So how do you think about that? is the key driver of your growth in the future, right?
Yes, we consider two factors that the company will be able to remain competitive and rise the tuition fees according and more than its historical rate. The first one is that the target customers in this industry, which is the international school, are price inelastic when compared to their parents in the whole education industry. And the second of all, we consider that SISB have a very strong competitive advantage, which is built on three factors. The first one is its brand strength and it being a trusted brand. The second one is its proven academic record, and the last one is its offering global benchmarking at affordable price.
I like to ask about the capital expenditure cycle because I saw that one of the key success factors of the company is how to manage the utilization and optimize a whole financial statement, say that way. So can you explain that how the company make that perfect for you? Because you believe that the price will reach your target, right? And the margin expansion, how is related to the capital expenditure?
From that point, the company has developed strong benefits with real estate developers. This allows SISB to gain a land that they want to expand to in a lower price. Therefore, their assets turnover will be improved from the growth of revenue that is outpaced the growth of the asset. And this, from the expanded capital expenditures, will further increase the quantity of students, therefore leading to economy of scale from the fixed cost and higher number of students. This will result in a long-term increase in net profit margins. From our analysis, we analyze that this is one of the crucial factors that raise up the net profit margins and lead to ROE growth in the futures.
So let's go back to not so much the net profit margin, but just the competition. If we think about this market, in one case, you've got a bunch of lazy competitors. They're rich and lazy, successful, maybe English language competitors that never thought that they're going to grow and expand aggressively. And we have a player that has grown and expanded. But what is the likelihood that in the next, let's say, 5 years, some smart young people like you and others will see this opportunity and see such a high net margin and get into it? I know that it's going to take time for them to have an impact, but what is the risk of this?
So firstly, let me in charge of the questions that we see. Your questions mean that if the high competition in the future of this low competitor will lower the profit of SISB in the future, right? So firstly, we see as the lower competitors, they can take advantage as a first mover and strong brand reputation to have to be the strongest of the international school in that area. And we see that this strong first mover cannot be replicated by just 1 or 2 years of the upcoming international school. And the strong records of the placement of the students cannot also build within 1 to 2 years. So we see that SISB can be benefits from in the future.
And in each of the campus that we have analyzed, majority of the campus, we are the only trilingual school in the area. That's one of the major reasons why we were able to capture high market shares in the area.
Short amount of time, why it seems like your cost of equity or your discount rate is a little bit low. What are your thoughts about that?
We also conduct a sensitivity analysis in case that investors might want a more required rate of return, and this still show if a 1% increase in the cost of equity still maintain our buy recommendation.
Intermission. Now we will have a 5-minute session. Now we will have a 5-minute session for feedback and recommendation from the judge.
I thought you did a good job. My biggest concern here, as you can see, is about the risk. And I think my feedback is always put yourself in the seat of the judge and help them to understand, yeah, that's a risk, right? Sometimes what happens is that your response is going to naturally be, yeah, but we've already looked at that, and here's the reason why that's not going to happen. But acknowledging that risk a little bit more may help you connect with judges or investors in the future. But overall, I felt like you did a good job.
Yeah, I agree that you do a very good job, but a bit for you, because I think that if you put your shoe on me, let's say on investor, probably you think about what could be the thing that they will not believe you. Say that way. For example, because this is a brick and mortar investment, right? And along with the utilization management. So how you manage the risk of the, say, investment cycle and utilization cycle, say that way. Second, maybe you talk about the sky high margin, and then you talk about what could be something that the company do, visibility management, you know what I mean? That could be something that I think relieves the outsider, say that way, outsider fear. So I think that's my recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, I agree with both of the commentator, but just to add on a bit, so I think the positioning of this company is very clear in terms of the growth strategy. So I think for your presentation, instead of repeating the company strategy, maybe you should add on or do some deep analysis, for example, on the Chinese student, how you want to defend that this trend will continue to expand for this company. I think if you put the times on that part more a bit, I think it would help on your presentation. And second thing is on your projection is quite difficult to follow in terms of how many campus you factor in your growth trajectory of this company. I mean, maybe you speak really fast, so I cannot follow on that part. And last one is on your valuation. I think sensitivity is good, but I think apart from that, you should spend more time on your price recommendation, the 30 something baht on that part. Why you think that this is makes sense? How you sanity check on the multiple based on this valuation? Yeah, I think you should spend more time on that part instead of just spending a lot of time on the company positioning, which is already clear and already strong.
For me, I think you did a good job on the presentations and all the valuations, the peer comparison, and especially I think the sensitivity analysis is very good. But maybe in the real life, you may need to do it like the key assumptions, like the revenue growth, the student growth, the price increase. In the case that if anything go wrong, you can see that how much the downside for your valuation on it, especially the DCF, which is the very high on the target price. Yes. Thank you. Good luck.
Okay, thank you for your presentation, and you guys are welcome to stay and watch the other team presentations. Thank you. So let's begin with our team B. Feel free to start your presentation whenever you're ready. The timer will begin as soon as you do. Good luck.
What happens when a business cannot grow? What happens when top line is fixed but cost continues to rise? This is what's happening with SISB. Despite the A+ history, the C grade prospect leaves the current price unjustified. We issue a sell recommendation with a target price of 18.6 baht, a 16.2% downside from Wednesday's price.
Now, let's first explore SISB A+ history. SISB operates 6, soon to be 7, international schools across Thailand. We believe the key factor to SISB's success is expansion, and we want you to keep that in mind. We have identified 2 factors that drive this expansion. First, the rise of Thai high net worth individuals, and second, the increase in the enrollments from Chinese students. Together, these trends have translated into a steady rise of total SISB students. This growing number of students has driven strong revenue growth for SISB. Not only the top line rises significantly, the profitability has also improved, with EBIT margin continues to expand as the total number of students increases. Now, this is SISB share price relative performance. Since IPO, the stock experienced a steady gain and later spiked by almost 10 times. So, what triggered this rally? Recall the key factors: expansion, expansion, and expansion. For example, in late 2021, SISB announced the Rayong land acquisition. The stock later spiked by several percentages. Another example is when SISB announced the school openings in Rayong and Nonthaburi. The stock started to rally to almost its all-time high. Now, we would like to raise a question. What would happen to SISB share price when there is nowhere left to expand?
And the answer to that forms our recommendation. SISB C-grade prospects comprises of 3 components. First, the capacity of its current business model. Second, the competition which the new housing project will face. And lastly, the cost reduction strategy, which is unviable. And as such, we expect the revenue growth to decrease to 8.5% and the margin to be squeezed by 4.9% throughout our forecast period. Starting things off with the first C, the capacity, we expect SISB ability to grow under the current business model to plateau. By growing, there's 2 things they can do. First is to expand via current branches, and that will be hard, with Prachaothit and Chiang Mai approaching their maximum utilization. However, simply adding capacity wouldn't work due to the already high levels of density. And as for the other branches, Suvarnabhumi demand has plateaued for quite a while, and Rayong, despite being built initially to capture on Chinese demands, has underperformed as admitted by the management. And as for Thonburi and Nonthaburi, they have been performing relatively well. However, their success is not enough to justify other branches' underperformance. Now, the other way to grow is to expand to new branches, but that will be hard as well, as SISB current branches has already covered the entire area of Greater Bangkok in 30 minutes driving distance. Opening any new branches here would risk cannibalizing the current demand. The only area where SISB has yet to play is on the red dot, which is Samut Sakhon. However, the demographics wealth there is significantly lower than that of SISB's target group. And if we take a step back and look outside of Greater Bangkok, using Rayong as a benchmark, we can see that there's no other provinces which the local Thais are richer. And as for the demand from foreigners, well, there's 2 provinces with a higher number of expats, including Phuket and Chonburi. However, Chonburi and Rayong basically shares the same market, and Phuket, the majority of expats there are European, thereby having a mismatch between the demand and the offerings of SISB. And as such, we expect that SISB cannot grow both inside of Bangkok and outside of Bangkok.
With difficulties in expanding the current business model, SISB is entering a new market. Management identifies an opportunity in the lower tuition segment. To enter, they launched the Halving Project, which are new schools outside of Bangkok with 35% lower tuition while claiming, quote, the same education quality. This project begins with SISB Rangsit, set for 2026. But to maintain margins, they will first reduce native English teachers and second, facilities. Raising the question, is this really an opportunity? Despite management claims of being the first mover, Rangsit will face competition with some offering the same Cambridge curriculum. As a result, we believe the realistic EBIT margin is at 24%, lower than the current levels management claims. Now, from a long-term perspective, we believe the Halving Project is difficult to scale. First, value mismatch with suburban parents. Despite SISB's trilingual education, parents prefer bilingual and top Thai university placements. Second, high risk of brand dilution. The claim of same education quality, despite such significant tuition cuts, raises concerns amongst current parents, further fueling the uncertainty of the project's success.
Now that we have determined that SISB cannot grow, both with its current business model and the new Halving Project, the final step would be to see if they can decrease costs. And to control costs, we believe that they will look at teachers' salaries, the largest cost expense, and one which they have shown control in improving in the past, increasing their student-to-teacher ratio significantly. So now, we would like to ask, will SISB be able to control its educational personnel costs? And in our analysis, we have determined that it will be difficult due to two main reasons. First, the average teacher salaries growth far exceeds the growth in tuition fees, which will cause a decrease in margins. And second, as SISB's student-to-teacher ratio already exceeds the industry average, growing this ratio further would be difficult due to pushback from both teachers and parents. As such, we believe that SISB will not be able to control its educational personnel expense, negatively impacting its margins. Now, as we have determined that SISB's revenue will slow down and its margin will be squeezed, its ESG factors are also not redeemable. SISB has an independent board of directors, and its management is also its largest shareholders. And even though its carbon emissions per student has risen year over year, currently we don't view that as a significant risk. However, SISB have received many negative comments from teachers, with most focusing on the management of the school. As such, we believe that this will not be enough for sustainability funds to invest in SISB.
Now, with the notable ESG aspect, let's take a look of how our 3 C's will form the foundation of our valuation. Our 3 C, capacity, competition, and cost, will translate to utilization rate, student per teacher ratios, and average salary increase into our financial projection, which resulted in a revenue CAGR of 8.5% and resulted in an EBIT margin squeeze of 5%. We derive a target price of 18.6 Thai baht, implying a target price earning ratios of 17.8 times, a 16% downside. Our DCF model incorporates our TACs mentioned, which with CapEx, and we discounted it with 9.4% cost of equity and used 2% terminal growth rate to arrive at the target price. And also, in acknowledging the risk, we also conduct a scenario analysis. In the bull case, we see a 7.7% premium in which we satisfy utilization rate, education personnel costs, and also the terminal growth rate. We identify 2 key risks that would affect our sell recommendation. If SISB can decrease tuition fee faster than what we expected, instead of 3% at 4%, there will be a 2% upside, a whole recommendation. The next risk is if the demand growth exceeds expectation. This risk, even if it's materialized, it would still be a downside of 7.7%, a whole recommendation.
Despite the A+ history, SISB has C grade prospects, receiving the first C for capacity limitations, the second for competition of the Halving Project, and the final C for cost of teachers. The C grades reflect a case of limited revenue, a case of squeezing margin, and ultimately a case of a stock to sell. Thank you.
Q&A session.
Excellent. My question is, first of all, the expansion outside the having, one of the things that the model that, let's say, hospitals have done in the past is having feeders around the country that can feed patients into the main hospital. And why do you think that they're doing this method? What do you think is driving them, and why do you see it as so negative? For instance, there's still strong demand. If you look at, families and their desire for education, whether it's in Bangkok or outside, there's still a huge demand, and you're never going to be having great competition from government schools up country. I would be a little bit surprised that you're so negative on that. Can you talk more about that?
Yes. As for expansion outside of Bangkok, we completely agree that demand exists. However, we also believe that in regions in which there is sufficient demand in terms of spending power for tuition, there is also sufficient competition, which will make expansion difficult. On top of that, when we compare the competitive landscape, we can see that the local competitors are catered towards Thai universities, which are often the preference of these parents. SISB has a Cambridge curriculum which supports students in terms of international universities. But when it comes to the competitiveness of specifically subjects like medicine or engineering, which requires Thai entrance exam, these schools have an advantage over SISB.
Okay, for the risk of expansion outside Bangkok, I think another company strategy is they expand with the real estate developer. So would that help mitigate the risk of like there is no demand in the area that they will expand, or like whether they have the partner in the expansion as well? What do you think about this?
Yeah, so when we think about expansion, we focus more on the demand. We believe that if the demand in the area is sufficient, SISB can expand with a real estate developer or without. And therefore, because the demand is the limiting factor, we don't believe that construction aid, such as like real estate developer, will make a difference in this case.
And on your recommendation price, I think that like the target price also fall within your DCF valuation. So can you speak more about that? Like why you draw a conclusion that even if it fall under your DCF valuation, you still recommend to sell? And also maybe on your peers analysis or multiple analysis as well.
Okay, please go to appendix. Okay, here, let's specify. Okay, so you mentioned that the target price is. Sorry. You mentioned that the target price is lower, like skewed lower to DCF, right?
It's fall within your DCF range anyway. Why you draw a conclusion on like, I don't know. Sell, yes. Yeah.
Okay. To answer this question, yes, it falls within our DCF price. However, this DCF range is conducted to indicate the bull case and the bear case. So the bear case is on the left side and the bull case on the right side. So we believe at best this stock is a whole, as in the bull case. So the target price that falls within the DCF range would reinforce our sale recommendation.
And the red line, like how you
The red line is the
your target price.
Target price, yes.
Yes. Okay, confused.
Sorry. And for the peers, please go to appendix about peers, page 122. Okay, so in conducting the relative valuation, we have identified few peers that seem to be at first glance comparable to SISB. However, after dig deeper in those peers, the Maple Leaf Overseas Education and the company in Peru. For the Maple Leaf, it's now operating in China, which don't have the same regulatory framework as in Thailand. And for overseas education, it's operating in Singapore, and its unique selling point is to cater to the expats, not to cater to the locals as SISB. And for the last one from Peru. It is inactively trading securities, so there's no multiples and price data available. So we decided to omit the relative valuation from our target price setting.
Okay, I like yourself, but what I think it is because you strongly believe that you sell the stock, and what two things that pop up in my head is that it cannot compete and it not fit into the trend of the future. That what you actually talk about. What do you think about the value proposition of the company? Because it's hard for me to believe that in the past it really successful. But why in the future it will not? Because value proposition for me, I'm talking about the price, the quality, the combination of everything that make them successful in the past until today.
Yeah, so we believe that SISB has shown a great historical performance because of the trilingual proposition and a price range that is affordable when comparing international schools. This is highly suited for the demand in Bangkok. And that's why SISB has managed to expand throughout Bangkok with 30 minutes driving distance. But at the same time, we believe that this reaches the saturatedness of the city, because once we step out to outside of Bangkok, with or without the Having project, we think that the trilingual value proposition is not strong enough compared to local competitors, as the demand landscape is different. This is the interview we conducted with 32 parents in and outside of Bangkok, showing the different preferences when they choose schools for their child.
Okay, can you ask more about the Having project that I think the company coordinate with Palai, right? So this project will capture the middle to low income, and the fee will be lower with the same curriculum. So I wonder why you not agree with the growth strategy of the company, this strategy here.
Yes, can we go to the slide on Rangsit competition, please? The reason why, if we focus on Rangsit first, we can see two competitions in 10-kilometer radius, which offers very similar price, tuition fee. So in this case, it's very comparable in terms of parents. Now, if we look at the curriculum, it's also all Cambridge, which is, once again, the same, pretty much. For Sathit especially, it has been there for 20 years. It has over 1,000 students. So we believe that, yes, it will be a competitor in the landscape, but it will also face very intense competitions with school with the same curriculum and very similar tuition fees.
Okay, very good. And another question from me, the Chinese demand that keep rising. So why do you not buy that? Sorry.
Yes, can we refer to appendix influx of Chinese 40? Okay, so to give you some brief view of SISB student composition, can you go to the next slide, please? Back to another. Okay, it's fine. Historically, the main target of SISB consists of two nationalities, so the Thai and the Chinese. In recent years, there has been a continuous rising of Chinese, but we believe this demand is very temporary. This is because in 2021, when there was a regulation implemented by the Chinese government where they managed the private school to close down because of these following three reasons. So in that case, the number of the private school has fallen from 124,000 down to below 10,000. That is why there has been a rising in the number of students in Chinese, but we believe continuing in the future, this will not be an effect and the Chinese will be in decline.
Can you go back to the valuation slide, the one that you had the red line in your target price? The bottom one is analysts. I'm assuming that's analysts in the stock market. So here you are, young students. What do you know that the analysts don't know? It's hard to understand that. So please, you've got probably 20 seconds to answer that.
Okay, let me go through this this question quickly. Please go to page 124. Thank you. So the analysts have yet to mention about the margin squeeze yet, and also their growth is very optimistic. And we believe that when the growth is gone, the margin will got squeezed, and that is what the market is currently missing right now.
Time is up. Now we will have a 5-minute session for feedback and recommendation from the judge.
I thought it was good. I mean, the sell recommendation made it more interesting for us, you know. But I also, it seems like momentum is really going for this story, and so it's a hard one to convince, you know. And I guess from my perspective, I was thinking also about how maybe even the margin goes down a bit, still it's a stable business. So as an investor, part of what I was thinking about is, yeah, it could be at risk, but is it really that bad? And so that's something that I think if you, again, as I told the other team, always think about your audience as much as you can. But overall, I thought it was very good.
So I think my feedback is that your presentation is very good, easy to understand, easy to follow, and no text. I mean, you really get to the point. One feedback from me is on your target price. I think we understand your point that you have a sale recommendation, but I think the scenario that you think that the management will keep expanding the business with the margin decrease for in another 5 or 6 years. I think that is one of the assumption. But I think another scenario that you should look at should be if for that case, if your analysis is correct, then if they stop expansion and they keep the business as is, what will be the valuation? I think that would be another sanity check for the valuation of the company before you draw a conclusion on the target price.
I love your story. It's just a bit for me is that you may have to add something about the things that directly answer your proposition, because what I think is this company has a very good value proposition to answer the demand basically, but in the future you think it's not. But value proposition that you talk is actually here and there, but I think you should add something directly, let's say maybe 1 or 2 slides talking about directly about the value proposition that you believe will not be fitting into the future. And one thing is it's rational and flexible, because you cannot assume that the company will sit down and will not change anything in response to whatever change in the future. I think that's something you need to keep in mind. And the last thing, because I think today the flexibility for whatever company is really important. So I think management may or may not have, I don't know. It's up to you, because you should address that as well. I think good job.
I like your contrarian view and all the innovations, all the initiative. Thank you. I think on the valuations, because this company has very high ROE, about 30, right? And also net cash. So maybe you need to look at another angle of the valuation, not only DCF, to see what is the flaw of this kind of company that have plenty amount of cash, and maybe the growth story of the company, maybe do the sensitivity analysis to add up on the valuations. That might be good. Okay, thank you. Good job. Good luck.
Let me just add another thing. I was just thinking, are we talking about the whole industry is now saturated, or just this company? And that's something I was thinking about. Make sure you're clarifying that.
Team B presentation, you are welcome to stay and watch the other team's presentations. But now we will take a 15-minute break. Snack boxes are available at the reception desk outside for you to enjoy, but please remember no food or drinks are allowed back in the hall. So please enjoy your snack now during the break. Thank you. So let's begin our third team, Team C. Feel free to start your presentation when you're ready. So the timer will start when you do. Good luck.
From over 40 to below 30, the market still has a little flag of potential downside of SISB. Good morning, investors. Today we are here to uncover 3 reasons why you should sell SISB now. We issue a sell recommendation with a target price of 20 baht, representing a 13% downside for the following 3 reasons. First, unfavorable student outlook. Second, unpromising market expansion. And third, tuition growth constraint. But first, let us walk you through the business overview. SISB Public Company Limited operates 6 campuses of Singapore International School across Thailand, with tuition fee as its primary revenue source, accounting for 97%, driven by 2 key factors: tuition fee per student and the number of students. Breaking it down by campus, 80% of students are from Prachautit, Thonburi, and Nonthaburi campus. Offering a combination of Singapore and UK curricula, SISB is positioned as a mid-tier school. For key direction, SISB is expanding into private school market by launching the Halving Project, which is the strategy aimed to attract more English program students with lower tuition fee. To access SISB competitive position, we classify its campus into 2 categories based on competition intensity. But let's just focus on only 3 key revenue contribution campus. In areas with high competition, SISB lags behind competitors in terms of academic results and global recognition. While in less competitive area, success is determined by sufficient local demand, with showing signs of stagnation at Thonburi, while Nonthaburi remains as the only one promising campus. When it comes to ESG, social responsibility is the biggest concern for our school business. SISB has room for improvement, particularly in teacher quality and workforce conditions, as evidenced in the discussion of international teacher communities. This could potentially lead to higher staffing costs and reputational risks. For the environment, there's a progress in energy and waste management, but still lack water conservation measures. While key risks for governance include heavy reliance on 3 key individuals and the absence of board representation in risk management. Next, we're going to talk about 3 reasons why we recommend sell.
Let's start with our first thesis, unfavorable student outlook. Looking at the past, student enrollment rose significantly due to 3 short-term drivers. First, temporary recovery from the pandemic, especially in nursery and kindergarten. Second, one-time Chinese student influx, caused by China's decision policy on domestic international school. And lastly, opening new campus. Demand at Thonburi and Rayong campus was boosted by initial run, but it now declining in the same pattern as Chiang Mai and Thonburi faces in their first year. All these 3 factors result in abnormal student growth during 2022 to 2023, but at the momentum phase, student enrollment is now going back to its natural state before the pandemic. Looking forward in the longer term, student demand will be suppressed by macroeconomic factors. First, record low birth rate. Second, slower residential growth near campus. And lastly, stagnant economy. Considering all factors together, student growth outlook is expected to decelerate even further.
And now that we know SISB is tapping into the new upper private school market through the Housing Project, let's see why we believe this will not work. The Housing Project's announced tuition fee are only 35% lower than those of full-scale campuses, but this price remains significantly higher than the English program at a private school, so the majority of the target student may fall outside the true addressable market. Moreover, even if the first housing project in Rangsit campus is successful, its contribution to the share price remains limited to less than just 1 baht. And now your question might be, what about expansion beyond Rangsit? Our feasibility analysis based on school-age population and household income, which is the same criteria management previously used, suggests limited location to scale, with significant challenges lying in all areas. Therefore, the new market expansion is likely unsuccessful. And lastly, tuition growth constraint. With the positioning as an affordable, high-quality education, one key competitiveness of SISB lies in maintaining its tuition at the lower bound compared to competitors. But over the past, SISB tuition grows at the fastest rate among its peers at 5%. But looking forward, this rate is not sustainable as it would destroy own competitiveness, which is also supported by the management recently announced to lower annual tuition increase to about 3%. Moreover, following the recent rapid expansion and based on our social listening, there has been rising concerns among both parents and teachers in terms of the drop in the perceived quality of the school. This further reinforces that the ability to increase tuition fee as well as ability to retain talent is becoming more challenging in the long run. So, with the fees approaching competitors' level and the drop in the perceived quality, SISB historical tuition growth is indeed unsustainable. Next, let's sum up our 3 theses and see what we get.
Let's begin with SISB's top line. We expect SISB's revenue to decelerate to 6.9% CAGR over the next 10 years, driven by 2 key factors. The first factor is tuition fees. We project the growth of 3.5% in 2025, then gradually decrease and set a new baseline at 3% from 2029 onward. The second factor is student enrollment. We project an average of 215 students annually over the next 10 years, compared to 400 annually in the last 5 years. For margins, SISB has seen a significant increase in its net profit margin, reaching 37% in recent years, driven by improved efficiency in capacity utilization and class advancements. However, we expect the margin to stabilize at around 40%, as the efficiency gain will reach their limits and the housing project is expected to reduce the net profit margin by 1%. Moving on to CapEx, we have accounted for 3 expansion projects that have already been announced by the company, as well as 2 additional projects that we anticipate will take place. The first project is Nonthaburi Phase 2, which will expand the primary and the secondary school capacity in 2026. And the second project is the relocation of the Suvarnabhumi campus in 2032, as the current lease is set to expire. And for the balance sheet, SISB has a strong cash position due to the nature of its business and little debt. With limited viable locations for expansion, we expect the company to gradually increase its payout ratio from 45% to 90% after completing the 5 expansions we have incorporated into our projection. And that brings us to this question. Is the price right?
To answer this question, we value SISB using 10 years discounted cash flow with 5 key drivers and with a cost of capital at 10.1% and terminal growth at 3%. We arrive at a price of 20 baht, representing a 13% downside. And we also break down the value in each campus into a waterfall chart, with over 80% of SISB value concentrated in 3 main campuses. And to confirm our DCF, we are also using relative valuation. With educational peers, we use 3 criteria, which are business model, revenue structure, and gross profit margin. Deriving the football field analysis indicates that the price under DCF is in line with other valuation methods. And for the risk, we prioritize the aggressive tuition fee rates and higher student enrollment as 2 greatest upside risk to our sale recommendation. First, the aggressive tuition fee rates could increase our target price to 23.6 baht still give a whole recommendation. And for the higher student enrollment, has even smaller impact to the target price. And we also test the key metrics with Monte Carlo simulation. Results in 66% of the scenario support our sale recommendation. And with the challenging business landscape and the stock being overvalued, we state our sale recommendation based on 3 theses: unfavorable student outlook, unpromising market expansion, and tuition growth constraints. We believe the base of SISB has passed. Therefore, we recommend you to sell the stock now. Thank you.
So maybe I'll ask the first question is, you mentioned that the Rangsit and other campuses have a very small impact on the overall performance of the company. So why would it be such a worry that maybe they're doing it at a lower margin? And the second part of this question is that, think about HomePro. 20 years ago, when I was an analyst, I covered HomePro. And it had all the best locations in Bangkok. And it took the best first. And then it expanded across the rest of the country. That's natural. And my third part is that the share price has already come down so much. To what extent is what you're talking about already in the price? So the first thing is about the outlying schools and why does it matter if it's down? They're still capturing growth. The second one is the HomePro concept of they're going to naturally expand at less profitable, but still. And then the share price is already down. That would be my questions.
Okay, so for the first question you asked about why is the student, which is little impact matter, right? So we believe it matters because in terms of the price, it is overvalued relative to the growth prospect that the current price is just not justified by the growth prospect, as we believe the market is still anchoring to an abnormal growth that there was just temporary drivers.
For the second question, for SISB, it is an education business. They can't just bet on any expansion. They have to make sure that they can get it right because education business involves a lot of people, whether it's teachers, whether it's students. If they expand and fail, it will not just hurt those people, but also the brand itself.
So for the price, if we benchmark it with the consensus, our projection is still significantly lower than the consensus.
Okay, I think 2 questions from me. Number one, on your projection, I think you mentioned very less about the Rangsit campus and your analysis on the limitation of the expansion, and I would like you to elaborate that a bit more on your view on the Rangsit campus. And another one is on your valuation and the target price. I saw you perform DCF, multiple, and also PEG. So can you elaborate more on the relationship of those valuation output and your target price, why you draw a conclusion on 20 baht?
Okay, first, let me answer about the having project at Rangsit. We project this as a successful campus with a positive outlook since the company is expand to the area with a first mover advantage, similar to success campus like Thonburi or Nonthaburi campus. And for the scalability, we expected that other school more than just Rangsit has limited location from our feasibility analysis. And for the relative valuation, we use the educational peers with a school in China to confirm our DCF. In our PE and EV/EBITDA, we can see that the company still has a premium compared to other competitors. And for the forward PG, that the company has a lower PG than others because the market still expect that the earning of SISB will still growing.
You don't show the profitability, I'm assuming that the profitability of these companies is much lower than SISB. Would that be correct in saying? And therefore they trade at a lower multiple, or what's the profitability of these companies?
Okay, for the profitability, we observe that the gross profit margin of these companies is relatively high to over 30% of these to compare with SISB also. But the net profit margin is likely to be uncomparable since they have different in terms of capital structure. So we observe as a gross profit to be the metrics to choose our peer.
Your final target price, you have a lot of, like, you have DCF, you have multiple, you have like PEG analysis. So why you draw a conclusion on 20 baht?
Okay, we base on our DCF to incorporate any scenario analysis, and also we use DCF since it is the method that gives the highest valuation, since we give the sale recommendation, so we would love to be conservative to the company, to not too harsh for them.
I've noticed that the student growth of your assumptions is quite low compared to the consensus, quite bearish. So why don't you believe in the higher demand in international schools in Thailand and also in Chinese demand from Chinese market? And also the company already proved that the demand in Nonthaburi and Rayong keep rising, right? And the project is gonna break even soon. So why don't you believe in the company and in the growth outlook of the student?
Okay, so first for the domestic students, so even though it may seem that the international school industry is still growing, but if we look at a deeper level, we'll see that the sub-segment that actually grows is in the lower tier international school, which is not where SISB currently operates in.
And for the Chinese students, we have observed that the recent Chinese student influx is come from the double reduction policy. And we observed the policy that it doesn't work well. It has caused people to leave the country and also has created more inequality in education system. So we believe there will be no further implementation on the policy, and hence why the influx will be just a one-time event.
And for the promising campus of Nonthaburi, it's about the rapid expansion of housing market nearby the Nonthaburi and the urbanization. However, this doesn't happen in other locations.
And also the outlook for the Nonthaburi and Thonburi is also declining as for Nonthaburi it is a newly open, so the demand was boosted by their first initial years of operation, but it's now declining as evidenced in the previous result announcement that it's going down.
Okay, I have let's say this question. Why you think that what I define, probably you can say same school revenue growth, maybe, as you know that one, right? Is used normally for the convenience store, but this is more like a school that can grow, because like Andrew mentioned that the shop or maybe the school that opened for a long time, it can expand, it can increase. Why you don't believe that the LSG can increase, continue to increase the revenue per say per school, and also I think that because the company has two curriculum, right? One is Singapore, one is UK, while the other competitors have only one. So this kind of the two curriculum is more like a segmentation, right? And they also have a network of the school that could, leverage on the staffing, on the cost, or maybe things like that. Why you don't think that that could help the school propel the growth going forward and actually compete? And lastly, my lastly would be, okay, let's say this way, when they expand to the Langsit area, of course they have a housing project that could lower the margin. But at the same time, why don't you think that the lower price can actually penetrate better and increase the number of the student better compared to the other competitor?
Okay, I would like to answer the same school sales growth. It can break down into tuition fee growth and the student enrollment, which is for the tuition fee is suppressed by the competition, and for the student we have negative outlook from the macroeconomics, and also we have observed the competition in each area.
And for the curriculum, even though they have two curriculum, but the academic result and global recognition of SISB is still lower than other competitors in the same tier and the same curriculum.
And for the last question, they have to ensure that they can keep the quality at an acceptable level as well because they use the same brand name.
All right, thank you so much. For next part, we will have a 5-minute recommendation session for feedback and recommendation from the judge. Thank you.
All right, so a couple of recommendations from me. For me personally, I don't like talking that much about ESG kind of at the front of in the beginning. You talked about it. To me, I would put that at the back, but that depends on the judge. And also, one of the questions about the argument I was thinking about was is declining birth rate really an impact for this type of premium product? Maybe it's not, and so I'm thinking you should probably think a little bit more about that, because it's easy to say, but I'm not necessarily convinced that that is such a big factor. I think you had a good recovery from the question that I asked, which was about I thought those companies weren't that profitable, and then you recovered with that. The last thing is that today, this was the first group that we really had a little bit more complex questions, where there were multiple questions that I asked, and we also asked some of those. Just remember, whenever you're asked a complex or multiple question from a judge for any of the teams, is that that's their problem, that they gave you that question. It's not your problem. You can go back to them and ask them, can you rephrase that? And ask them, can you clarify that? Can you give me one at a time? Or something like that, so that you don't get caught looking like you can't, handle that type of question.
Okay, I think just to add on a bit. So to me, I think two key points from me. I think the first one is that it's good that you, for the valuation analysis, that you do like both DCF and multiple valuation. But if you can elaborate more on the relationship between those two methodology and how you draw a conclusion on target price more precisely, that would be good. I mean, I observed that you do a lot of valuation analysis, but then you draw a conclusion on only DCF, and there seem to lack of a bit more rationale backup on that part. And another one is on your thesis. Based on your presentation, I observed that the company is still growing from your perspective, but you expect that the company should grow faster in order to justify the valuation right now. So maybe you should emphasize on that part a bit. I mean, I kind of lost the communication on that part.
I think you do a good job explaining things. I just want to add that probably you need a bit more, more rational in terms of if you put your shoes in the owner or maybe the management, how they respond to whatever difficulty that they will have. For example, they may have to sacrifice margin lower, probably in order to gain the revenue growth. That's actually all the time happen to any company at certain time, right? You cannot, 45%, 50% net margin, that's cannot be for every segmentation, say that way. So I think that's the thing that you probably need to put your shoe, and it will make your argument really solid. Thank you.
I think you did a good job on the financial analysis, especially the one that the waterfall. on the breakdown and like that. But you need to be careful to on the valuation in a company like this, like high ROE, plenty of cash. You need to see the flaw of the company. You need to do as you put the assumption very bearish, so you need to make sure that your assumption is correct. And when you compare with the other companies in the regional, you need to make sure that the ratio is pretty much the same, like the profitability ratio, the ROE, and other things, so you can compare apple to apple. So that's all the things. Good job and good luck.
All right, thank you, Team C, for your presentation. You guys are welcome to stay to watch the next team's presentation. So let's begin our last team of today. So welcome Team D. Feel free to start your presentation when you're ready. The timer will begin when you do. Good luck.
SISB is a winning hand, signaling a winning call. And out of 800 stocks in Thailand, only one solely focused on international school business. And let me tell you, there's never been a better opportunity to invest in such a unique stock with such a discounted price than now. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, SISB is undervalued by the market, and please let us walk through you why. Because of these three key reasons: strong competitive positioning in the market, ability to increase its student quantity, as well as stable margin growth, we here issue a buy recommendation of 28 baht per share with 26% potential upside. Before we jump right into those theses, SISB operates 6 international school campuses across Thailand, with main nationalities being Thai and Chinese, and the main curriculum are Singaporean, offering from kindergarten to grade A, and most importantly, the revenue mainly comes from the tuition fee.
We view SISB as an attractive business in an attractive segment in an attractive market. The international school market has grown significantly despite annual increase in tuition fees and declining birth rates. This trend is expected to continue because of the growing number of Thai high net worth individuals and the Chinese market regulations continuing to bring demand from China. To understand this market better, we interviewed 150 plus parents and 11 industry experts and found that there are 3 factors that parents consider: location, curriculum, and tuition fees. What this means is that when a parent is picking a school, they first scout a 15-kilometer radius, within which they're usually offered 4 curriculum options, of which there are 3 different pricing tiers, making this market highly fragmented. What this also means is that SISB does not directly compete with all of the 250 plus schools in the market. So who exactly does SISB directly compete with? And why is it an attractive business? SISB's direct competition falls in the segment of schools called the Chinese language focused school segment, which are schools that offer at least 5 hours of mandatory Mandarin classes in a week and is a unique value proposition for this segment. Although this segment is relatively small right now, it has grown significantly over the past few years and is poised to see continued growth in the near future. SISB is the number 1 school in the segment for 3 key reasons. Number 1 is that SISB is the number one school in this segment for 3 key reasons. Number one is it offers a Singapore curriculum, which on top of providing this Chinese education, from our survey we found that it also provides a very strong academic foundation, which parents really prefer. And number two is its first mover advantage. Being the first Singapore curriculum school in Thailand enabled a significant branding advantage for those schools. And number three is location access. Having the most number of campuses among all schools in Thailand enabled them to capture a wider group of audiences. This helps us believe that SISB is well positioned to capture and retain the growing number of Thai and Chinese parents seeking this Chinese language-focused education.
And that leads us to thesis number 2. SISB shows strong student growth potential. But how so? By the end of 2030, we forecast additional 2,500 students coming from 3 key things. 1, increase in utilization of new campuses. And 2, retention expansion within old campuses. And last, housing model which access new market. For new campuses like Rayong and Nanturi, you can see it's relatively underutilized with only 50 to 20%. We expect that to improve based on our demand forecast, which calculate from various factors, including low competition in the area, as well as well concentration. For all campuses like Bachaltit and Thonburi, we can see it's quite fully utilized, so SISB plan to expand the capacity, unlocking even further growth. And most importantly, the current primary base will eventually move up to secondary, fulfilling the underutilized level. Now, for housing model, which is priced 40% lower than the current model, we use white space analysis to calculate potential provinces that SISB could expand to. We come up with 7 potential locations, one of which we include in our model, Rangsit, Pathum Thani.
Strong student growth combined with high operating leverage enables SISB to expand its margin. We forecast that SISB net profit margin is going to increase by 7.7% in 2030, driven by 2 key drivers. 1, increase in student-to-teacher ratio in new campuses, and 2, long-term economy of scale in SG&A. Teacher salary account for 70% of cost of goods sold. This is why student-to-teacher ratio is key important metric. A higher student-to-teacher ratio could mean that SISB could increase the number of students faster than the number of teachers. And we see this opportunity in new campuses in Rayong and Nonthaburi, where the student-to-teacher ratio is relatively low and also with the seat utilization rate. Next, our SG&A to revenue. We forecast that our SISB SG&A to revenue will drop by 3.8%. This is mainly due to the nature of the business, where the number of student growth outpaces number of non-teacher staff growth. With our 3 key investment themes, SISB strong moat, ability to attract new students, and high operating leverage, we forecast a revenue CAGR of 12% and a profit CAGR of 15% in the next 6 years.
Moving on to our key part, the valuation. We utilize a discounted cash flow model for SISB fully owned campuses. And based on the drivers we mentioned previously, plus capex to revenue that is expected to decrease after 2026, we forecast SISB free cash flow to increase 18.7% annually, and we discount it back with WACC of 8.2%. For the terminal growth, we use 2-stage terminal growth in our models, the first stage at 3% and second stage at 1% after 2040. This is to take into account the potential impact from long-term birth rate decline in Thailand. For Chiang Mai campus, we use sum of the part with dividend discount model, adding 0.8 baht per share more to our valuation. And in relative valuation, we pick SISB peers based on 3 criteria: operating segment, location, and market cap. However, we decided to exclude peer from China out of our list because of the high regulatory uncertainty. After conducting both intrinsic and relative valuation, we arrive with our target price at 28 baht based on our intrinsic valuation, and while a relative valuation also provide significant supporting insight. In bear case, where we assume an unlikely tuition-free growth of only 2% and lower utilization rate, our target price adjusts to 24.5 baht, still maintain a buy recommendation. On the other hand, in our bull case, where we assume a tuition-free growth of 5%, high utilization rate, and 3 more campuses by the end of 2027, our target price increased to 33.4 baht, represent more than 50% upside. And we believe that SISB is the very good investment right now.
We also address 6 investment risks. With our risk matrix, we prioritize the following 2 risks: taxation and increased competition. Currently, international schools in Thailand are tax exempt, and taxation will significantly impact the profit of the schools. However, we believe this is unlikely to happen as Thai government strongly support the private education sector. The potential increased competition could also threaten SSB. However, we believe the schools is able to maintain its strong competitive positioning. Taking into account of the fluctuation in stock market, we run multicolor simulation and sensitivity analysis. We got a majority of buy recommendation from both models. According to Morningstar, SSB is a low ESG risk business as it falling within the education sector in Thailand. However, SSB is committed to further lower ESG risk across all areas. In environmental, SSB's greenhouse gas emission align with industry level. However, the solar project is expected to save 20 to 30% more energy. In social, SSB reach out to local partner schools and provide English program, and this has benefiting more than 600 students so far. SSB is also able to maintain its good corporate governance rating, and the majority of the share lies between the founder and co-founder, ensure long-term business commitment.
And those reasons leads back down to our investment thesis of 3 of this. So once again, SISB is a winning hand, signaling a winning call. Thank you.
I want to talk about the 2 things. One is the utilization of the campuses, and some people would look at that as a negative, but it doesn't seem like you looked at it as a negative. So I'd like to hear your response. And then the second thing is the student-to-teacher ratio. What you discussed, some people would look at it as a negative, but you didn't see it that way. So if you could talk about the capacity utilization or utilization and the student-to-teacher ratio a little bit more.
Okay, so about this seats U rate. So we think that SISB has confirmed that SISB is going to expand the seat capacity in their main campuses. So that's why we think that SISB is able to fill in their capacity because of we forecast the quantity by the qualitative factor of each campus based on the location specific demand, international school supply in that area, and also the seats expansion plan of that area. And then we cross-check with the market growth versus the SISB specific campus growth. Also, we also check with the historical utilization rate versus the forecast utilization rate.
To answer the part why some of the utilization rates are lower, it's because they're new campuses. They were able to fill out 20 and 50% respectively just in 1 year. So we believe that because these are fast-growing campuses, they'll be able to ramp up quicker as well. And regarding the teacher-to-student ratio, the same logic applies. So the two campuses that have lower teacher-to-student ratios are Rayong and Nonthaburi, which are also the new campuses. So that's why there is a room for there to be growth over time as well.
Are you saying that that ratio is going to go to the same as Bangkok campuses?
Yes.
Or it's going to be different?
It's going to be around 8 to 9 as well.
I think so I have 2 questions. Number 1 is on the margin expansion. So look at your slide. One of the slides you have the detail of the margin of each campus. And for example, on the Rayong campus, where it doesn't go as planned, the margin is significantly lower than the other campus. So, and based on your projection, why do you think that the margin will keep expanding with the fact that some campus, if it's not performed, then the margin will be more contractual?
Okay, so if you look in the gross profit margin of SISB, mostly are coming from Prashatit and Thonburi campus. So we forecast a conservative growth in gross profit, overall growth of gross profit margin. As you can see, the Rayong campus, right? We didn't forecast it as bullish as other campuses such as Prashatit or Thonburi. We only forecast the gross profit margin at around 45%. Yes, so that is the reason why we think that the overall gross profit margin would improve, mainly coming from the new campus ramping up and also the existing campus ramping up.
And the low gross profit margin for Young is mostly due to the fact that it's recently opened. It's quite around the industry standard level of gross profit margin for a campus that's only 1 year old.
Okay, second question is on the valuation analysis. So on the peers, it seems to have like a very wide range of the multiples. So why did you think those peers suitable for SISB valuation analysis?
So first of all, we look at the peers in Southeast Asia first, then if we expand to China, and we found that most of them are not covered by any analysis, and all of the peers in China seems to have problem with the regulatory. So we have to expand our peers into Middle East, and our relative valuation, we just want this to prove ourselves. It's not the best way to do valuation for SISB, but we're doing this in terms to support our DCF result, that the price is in our range.
But did you look at the growth, whether like for Saudi Arabia, they trade at 40 something multiple, whether they have like, what is their growth expectation?
Okay, so currently the growth of Saudi Arabia, because this is a very high operating leverage business. So when they expand, right, so they're gonna have the high of fixed costs. So they need time to ramp up their capacity. So that's why we see the PE ratio of the Saudi Arabia international schools are so high, because of the market think that the net profit of these schools are gonna grow.
Okay, I have questions on housing project, as the business model is quite different than the current one. So how long do you think it's going to take for the project to be break even? And what's the key driver, the success factors of this project, given that the tuition fee is cut by maybe 30-50% compared to the existing one?
So for example, in Rangsit campus, which is the new project, right, we forecast that the tuition fee will be lower than Prachautit around, like it is 65% of Prachautit tuition fee. However, we think that this campus will starting to operate in 2026 in August. So after like it will break even in 3 years, according to the performance that we use those margin from Chiang Mai campus and also Rayong campus and Suvarnabhumi campus, which all of those three campuses also have lower tuition fee compared to Prachautit as the same character as Rangsit campus.
And to add on that, we have looked into Khon Kaen area, which is like one of the possibility of the housing model could expand to. As you can see in the slide, Khon Kaen have more than 1,600 housing that cost more than 4.5 million baht. And given the housing model tuition fee, which is significantly lesser than the Prachautit campus or full model campus, and we think that there are opportunity in these kinds of areas.
It seems that you believe that the Prachautit will be probably the best optimization school for the company, right? So how you see that that kind of the model will be used and leveraged to the different segmentation, like a Rangsit, like a Khon Kaen, or maybe some other up countries outside Bangkok? Because I just wonder that how you think about that. Is that going to be the same? Is that going to be the same year, the same, student to teacher, whatever you believe, that how you justify that?
Okay, so we think the housing model, so because of SISB's strong competitive positioning, right, so offer the Singapore curriculum. So I think there's like a demand there in other provinces, and that's how SISB extend their Singapore curriculum to other provinces. And the student to teacher ratio, we think that that's going to be similar to specialty campus since the tuition fee is a lot significant lower than the full model, the full pricing, right? So that's why we think the teachers to student ratio can increase more than the specialty or the Thonburi campus.
I would like to add on that part. So in the housing model campus, right, we believe that the teacher to student ratio will be a bit higher than the average of SISB total because you charge less price, but in terms of the teacher's salary, it doesn't like discount as the same as tuition fee. So we believe that for Rangsit campus, the teacher to student ratio might grow up until around 9, which is below industry norms around 10. So we believe that in that case, SISB will also be able to maintain its quality of education.
I was curious about your SG&A. It seemed like it really goes down quite a bit. Are you overly optimistic of SG&A as a percent of revenue?
So in terms of SG&A to revenue, right, we forecast that SING in Prachaothit and Thonburi will go a bit higher than Suvarnabhumi, as like Suvarnabhumi campus is relatively quite small and it's not expanding anymore. So we believe that SISB at Prachaothit and Thonburi will grow at, like in Prachaothit it will go at 4%, and for Thonburi it will go at 5%. And for the new campus,
yeah, but aren't those small relative to the overall? Or?
Yeah, because we believe that in our forecast, our revenue goes a lot higher than SG&A in this campus. And for the new campus, we also use the SG&A to revenue to be the same as Rayong campus and Nonthaburi campus, which is the historical performance.
Right, thank you. So now we will have a 5D session for feedback and recommendation from the judge.
Okay. I thought you did a good job. One of the things that I wanted to tell you is when you first started off, when you finished your presentation, you remember what you did? You turned around and you walked to the back, right? Never turn your back on the audience, right? Ever. Walk backwards, walk sideways, but never turn. That is one thing. Of course, what set you apart from the other teams was that you did the 150 surveys. So whenever any team has done something like that, always keep highlighting it. And I think you highlighted it pretty well, but that is a differentiator that you need to show. Ultimately I felt like the presentation was clear and simple, so I thought you did a good job. So, yeah.
Okay, a couple of comments from me. So I think the first one is on your the projection presentation from your team. So I think it's like your buy recommendation and your projection seem to go along, but I think you should think of the perspective of the investor as well, whether would they believe on like both the top line will continue to grow significantly and the margin will continue to expand, because SISB operate in a mid-tier segment. So in order to keep up on the margin expansion, you should have a more solid rationale to back up on that. And also when you show the page about like the GPM by campus, I think some of the campus that's starting that is not fully ramped up, there is still a risk of that the margin might not ramp up to 40-45% on that part as well. And another one is on the multiple valuation. I think so. It's good that you prepare that, but I think on that multiple, I think growth is one of the key factor. But you didn't like put on a lot of explanation on why those Saudi Arabia or UAE players trading at such a high multiple. you just simply put that to value SISB, which I'm not sure that you strongly believe that like can compare with SISB or not.
I like the story that you talk. Persistent is good. I just add that if you put the answer that you give to us, for example, like you explain how the student teacher ratio, how the utilization for each campus, how the segmentation that could be. Actually, if you put those into your presentation and put the solid foundation of each particular factor, I do believe that it could make your compelling valuation, because you can say this is what we believe, that why we believe that how fast, how much each campus can increase your utilization or things like that. I think that could answer a lot of questions at the end, right? Because those things that you elaborate is quite good. It's just some rationality foundation. I think that's good.
I like your presentations. It's very get to the point and quite well. I like to comment on the valuation on the DCF. You make quite a very bullish assumptions on the revenue, the student growth, and also you make assumption on very lower trend of the CNA, and you will get the operating leverage on top of that. So it might be maybe you need to think about what can be go wrong. The sensitivity that you make the best case, worst case, and best case is good, but the key driver for the future for the company is expansion. So maybe you need to break down project by project, which one might be go wrong. So it might be useful to doing that in the real life. Yeah. Thank you, very good job, and good luck.
Thank you, Team D, for your presentation. Now that we heard from all the teams, we will take a brief pause to give our esteemed judge some time to finalize the score. We will be announcing the results shortly, and so please stay tuned, and thank you for your patience. Alright, so we're just moments away from announcing the winner. So kindly ask everyone to return to your seat, and thank you for your cooperation. Distinguished judge, CFA board members, professors, research challenge finalists, contestants, and esteemed guests. It is truly an honor to stand before you guys today as we reach the final stage of the CFA Research Challenge. On behalf of the entire Research Challenge team, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to each and every one of you for your incredible effort, dedication, and commitment over the past 5 months. I know that it's not easy to balance the intensity of this competition with your schoolwork and personal life. Not everyone could keep going, but you did. This journey, I hope, has been one of the growth, learning, and self-discovery for all of you. I would also like to take this moment to recognize the invaluable role of our judges that have played in these competitions. Your expertise, thoughtful feedback, and challenging questions have been instrumental in shaping today's event. Your dedication and insightful decision have brought us to this moment where we can celebrate the remarkable achievement of our finalists. With that, it is my great honor to invite the President of CFA Society Thailand to the stage to present a token of our appreciation to our esteemed judge. Please join me in welcoming Kun Sornchai Suneta. Let's give a big round of applause as we invite our judge to the stage to receive that token of appreciation. Please welcome Dr. Andrew Stotts. please welcome คุณสุวัสดิ์สินสาดก Please welcome คุณภาสินภาวะสุทธิกุล And finally, please welcome คุณนินัทวงศ์เสงี่ยม Thank you for your invaluable contributions to this competition. Can we maybe have a group photo? Thank you so much to our judge. To the President of CFA Society Thailand, please remain on the stage as we now move on to the presentation of the trophy. Alright guys, so now we're moving on to one of the most exciting part of our event, the announcement of the winners of the Research Challenge in Thailand. We will begin with our second runners-up. Please note that we have 2 teams for the second runners-up in this category, and the order of the announcement does not reflect their scores. And the first of the 2 second runners-up is Faculty of Commerce and Accountancy Thai program from Chulalongkorn University. And the other second runners-up is Thammasat Business School from Thammasat University. Now I would like to invite Faculty of Commerce and Accountancy Thai program from Chulalongkorn to the stage. Please come forward. This year, the second runner-up prize are proudly sponsored by Kasikorn Asset Management. To present the prize of 5,000 baht, I am honored to invite Khun Win Propat, Executive Chairman, to the stage. like to invite Thammasat University to the stage to receive the trophy. Please come forward. Once again, I would like to highlight that this prize is sponsored by Kasikorn Asset Management. And to present the 5,000 baht prize, please welcome back Khun Win Prompat. So let's give them another big round of applause, everyone. All right, so now the moment that we have been waiting has arrived. It's time to announce the winner of this year's CFA Institute Research Challenge. This team has demonstrated exceptional analytical skills, deep financial insight, and a commitment to excellence. So throughout the competition, they have impressed the judge with their research, strategic thinking, and professionalism. Today, they stand at the top, earning the title of champion. Please join me in giving a huge round of applause to our winning team. And the winner is Faculty of Commerce and Accountancy International Program from Chulalongkorn University. Congratulations on securing the top position, and that means the first runner-up goes to Faculty of Economics International Program from Chulalongkorn University. Now, please welcome the first runner-up to the stage to receive the trophy. Come on stage. This year, the first runner-up prize is proudly sponsored by Kasikorn Asset Management. As a recognition of their outstanding performance, they will receive a cash prize of 20,000 baht. To present this award, I am honored to invite Kun Win Prompat, Executive Chairman, to the stage. All right, let's give the first runner-up team another round of applause, guys, for their incredible performance. Well done. Now it is time for us to celebrate the winning team. Please join me in giving a big round of applause to the winners of CFA Research Challenge in Thailand for the 2024 to 2025 season. Please welcome Faculty of Commerce and Accountancy International Program from Chulalongkorn University. I would like to also invite the advisor of the team to join us on the stage. Congratulations to our winning team on this remarkable achievement. Your dedication and hard work have truly paid off. We hope that you guys will continue striving for excellence in everything that you do, and that this experience serves as a stepping stone toward even greater success in the future. So this year, the Champions Prize is proudly sponsored by Kiet Nakin Patra Financial Group. As a recognition of their outstanding achievement, the winning team will receive a grand cash prize of 50,000 baht. To present this prestigious award, I am honored to invite Kun Pasin Kawasutikun, Vice President of Corporate Finance Department at Kiet Nakin Patra, to the stage. Thank you very much for your generous support. And for the next part, all right, so now I would like to invite Kun Ying Yong Jerawut, Research Challenge Chairperson. I would like to invite Kun Kelvin Cole, the co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of SISB Public Company Limited. I would like to invite Kun Win Phompat, Executive Chairman at Kasikorn Asset Management. Kun Pasawut Vilai Niran, former Research Challenge Chairperson and CFA Society Thailand Board Member. And also, I would like to invite Kun Karuna Nakara, Vice President, Corporate Finance Department of Kiet Nakin Patra, and Kun Tang Panitan Yan Sombun, Analyst, Client Coverage Department from Kiet Nakin Patra Group, to join us on the stage. And lastly, I also would like to invite Kun Chalat Udom Sangpet, Bloomberg Relationship Manager for Thailand. On behalf of the CFA Research Challenge, organizing team, and CFA Society Thailand, we extend our congratulations to all participants for your outstanding effort and dedication. Thank you for being a part of CFA Research Challenge. Thank you to everyone who joined us today at the Stock Exchange of Thailand and those who are watching live. We hope this competition has been an inspiration for the next generation of finance professionals. Wishing you all continued success and a wonderful day. Thank you very much.